Hi guys, this is Jim, and sorry I don't have my camera on. There's a problem with the screen capture software and my PC camera. For some reason they don't want to work together. Anyway, also sorry about the delay in getting this to you. Um, uh, some stuff had come up during the week that was unexpected, and then also I ended up spending a lot more time doing research with a lot of ed tech groups and political groups. That was all positive and it was all good. I mean, this is an incredible time, to do this and to be part of right now. And I can talk with you about that in more detail, when we talk about marketing and reaching out and partnerships and sponsors and that type of stuff. But I also talked with my development team, and I kind of scoped out some things that we'd want to do, obviously to avoid some of the mistakes that were made in 2016, and then also have a little bit better experience for both the teachers and the students and all that. So this is kind of the scope of work that we worked out. I told them we had about $5,000 to work with, and that we could go over a little bit, and then the next phase would be sponsors and partnerships and that type of stuff. But we can get this part done, and I think we can even have a good experience for the mock election. Even just with this, I think it would be really good. I think it would still be the best one out there. And then we can again talk about how much we want to add to this. So right now, the things that would need to be done is the teacher sign-up page. There'd be 3 different ways of doing that. One, the teacher could sign up, and then she can choose her school district, school, like last time, but then we would add, classroom, and then with that, the teacher would say, I have 90 students or whatever, and then we would generate a voter code that she can pass out to the kids. The kids would then sign in with just the code. They don't have to use their real name or their email address or anything like that. And we did run into a bunch of privacy issues in 2016 that were a huge headache. So this avoids that, which is good. So they put their code in, and then they would get their ballot. It would be connected with their teachers and all that, so that they would all be able to do that. The second way would be the teacher being able to sign up multiple voters, sort of like as a group, right? So now she could go up, sign up, and say I have 90 students, and they would get a ballot that would be voter number 1, would go through vote. And this scenario is for schools that, let's say, have 1 computer in the classroom, and they have 30 kids, and they all get in a line, and they come up and they look at the ballot, and they pick their favorites and they vote. And then the ballot would be erased, and a new ballot would come up. So they wouldn't have to sign in, they wouldn't have to put their name or password or log in or anything like that. It would just be that act of voting. It would be the website replacing like a voting machine, right? So in the first situation where the kids get their own logins, they can go home, they can share profiles, they can make comments, they can use the full breadth of the Win My Vote, and they can do it in multiple different devices. They can log in from home, whatever they want to do. The third way would be having kids sign up just as individuals, students, like if they're homeschoolers or other situations where they're not having a teacher do it for them. We can do that. But then again, that really goes to like the whole marketing question about who we're marketing this to, and who's going to be signing up. So I'll get to that in the marketing too. So we have partition out trusted sources. 2016, that was an issue. I think that we can do some stuff around that that's really interesting. And trusted sources are groups and organizations and individuals that endorse candidates. So I think there can be a cool lesson plan involved there, with certain groups. And again, this is one of those sticky parts where do we allow the teachers union to be one of those groups, right? Well, I don't know if that's fair, because they're going to always endorse the Democrats. So we can talk about how that all works. Then there's the addition of national questions. The mock elections in the past have included those. 2016 didn't have those. Even though they were up on the web page and talked about, there was no questions, there was no content. We just, not we, but Gloria just never got around to it. I don't think she ever got around to doing the curriculum either. And again, these are issues I can talk with you better about live. That just had to do with resources, and then just the organization on her side of getting things done. Just became a bottleneck, right? So that even if I wanted to do it, I wouldn't be able to do it simply because of the approval process. We can do the national questions. They have to be yes or no questions, but we can pull it off with what we have now for the propositions, and we can turn those into questions. For example, should there be universal health care for all, yes or no, and then have arguments supporting and arguments opposing and that type of stuff. And again, these are all decisions that we have to make in real time, where we're demoing what the page looks like and that type of stuff. The reporting software to tally the classroom, school district, state, and I'll do all that. We have to write that stuff. Last year it was done all by hand on an Excel spreadsheet, and that was, again, a scary time. So that can get done. And then mobile ready, obviously. All these things need to then be ported over to mobile, and we have a responsive site, so it's easier, but it's not it's time consuming, and again, someone's got to sit there for hours and do the coding to match it all up. So but again, I talked with our guys, and they think they can do it for 5,000. So I said, okay, that's great. And as we get into it, we'll have to have a little bit of direction here and there, but otherwise I think we can get it done in a timely fashion. The other thing is that we have to do it as soon as possible to get it all set up. I know that they have time right now, and they don't want to. Anyway, there's some other stuff with their schedules and that type of stuff. So when it comes to marketing, this is a big piece, because I would happily do tons of marketing and get really into this thing and all that, but there has to be some things around that. And again, I'll sort of I have like another scenario that I want to run by you guys, and I can talk more about it during that. So in the marketing piece, I know Gloria had about 35,000 teachers' email addresses that were good, that came back clean, that didn't bounce and that type of stuff, and that signed up. So that's the real number that we have. On the logins, that was 113,000, but again, that included the anonymous email addresses that we created. We created 100,000 of them, I think, where the kids could just put in a code or a combination of letters and numbers at winmyvote.com, and that was their email address, so they didn't have to use their own name or email address. But we don't want to do that again, and I can tell you why when we talk live. So this whole marketing piece, if we want to really do 5 million, 10 million, then there's going to have to be a huge effort there just to get the word out. But again, I'm really positive about that because of all the stuff that we can do online, all the stuff that we can do with the young Democrats and the young Republicans and the high school libertarians, and all these types of groups. As long as it's all web based and they can easily see the information and sign up and get to the right school or area, or give them an option to do it as the young libertarians or the young Republicans or something like that. There's a lot of interesting stuff that we can do there. But again, these are lots of decisions that we have to make. On the support side, the frequently asked questions, knowledge-based articles, video how-tos, I can do a lot of that stuff. And then the phone support and the email support, obviously, I can't do that, especially if the numbers get up there. But I know that Ramon had talked about using some university resources, and then there's also some other resources that we can do around that. But again, it costs money. So that's kind of that first step. So here's the idea that I wanted to run by. So well, first we can do all of that stuff, and then you can modify the website and change it, or fill these things in. There's a lot of stuff up here that I don't think goes anywhere. There's the curriculum guides. I think they have to be written. I don't think they have any of those written. The coordinators, I don't know if you want to take the time and energy to do that, to train the coordinators, to work with the coordinators on how that works. Again, these are all things that in 2016 just never happened. And I can tell you that, and again, I don't want to be negative about it, but there were some really serious issues with people talking with me and saying, hey, one, you said that you were part of this, and you're not. Win My Vote's nowhere on this site. Your ballot's not on here. You're not mentioned at all about being part of this thing. Did I go to the wrong site, or hey, what's going on? And then I don't want to get involved in any of that type of stuff. I want to make sure that the website is really, really clean and and organized and ready to go. So if you guys can do all that stuff, that's great. And we can do the whole ballot part of it and all that. And when it comes to the software licensing, I can just license the software to the National Student Parent Mock Election. And then I don't care. I mean, I can give you a lifetime license or a 10-year, 20-year license or something like that to the software, so that you can use it, in the mock elections. And I think you had mentioned that we needed to have something like that, right? So that's not a problem to do at all. So one thing that I was thinking about, because I went and bought the National Student Vote URL a while back. And kind of always wanted just to do this really simple landing page, no curriculum, no lesson plans, no coordinators, not something that they had to fill out big long forms or anything like that, but just really basic landing page. Teachers sign up, they go right to the sign up page, they put their information in, they get their ballot, and that's it. And now high school, juniors and seniors, even sophomores, even 10, 11, and 12th graders, they all have their own devices. Most of those schools have, plenty of computers and Chromebooks, and they can do it on their phones. And something like 95% of all high school kids have smartphones now, so they could even do it on their phones. So, that being something that's real simple to do, where they could do it, without much instruction at all. And and that's it. And then if we wanted to build from there, then we could just add stuff together. So this is one idea where I can get more involved on the marketing side of things and on the website management side of things, partnerships and sponsors and all that. Now, the partners and the sponsors, if there's any money involved, it would still need to go to you guys, to the National Student Parent Mock Election. That's the nonprofit. Win My Vote's not a nonprofit, and I think it's just simpler if the money goes to you guys, and then you guys buy, license the software from us for all of the ballot features and then the additional features that we build, so that we're sort of just like your partner and your technology partner in this. So we can talk about if that makes sense or not. So the scenario that I was running through was, even things like the About Us or History would be all about you. They would click on that. It would be all the National Student Parent Mock Election, doing business as National Student Vote, in collaboration with these other partners. We could even have a nice little thing about Gloria and the great work that she's done in the last decade or so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is an idea. This would give me a lot of flexibility. I may even just do it, on my own anyway. I don't look at us. We'll have to figure out how that works out. I don't want to do anything that would compete with you guys by any means. I'd much rather just do it all as National Student Parent Mock Election. It's just that right now, I have to have that flexibility and the control to do things quickly, and a simple basic site like this that just offers that multimedia ballot where they sign up, do the election, and that's it. Gives me a lot of that freedom to do that. Also, the freedom to go out and do partnerships and get sponsors. So for example, if they click on sponsor or partner, they have to have a nice landing page with information about what it means to partner, examples, videos, that type of stuff. And again, if they were to say, okay, we want to partner, or okay, we want to sponsor, we want to give you guys $10,000, that would go to you guys. Now if you guys don't want to be involved in this, right? You say, no, I don't like this idea about this national student vote thing. Then I'd have to rethink that, right? Then I'd have to go, and if I wanted to do it on my own down the road, I'd have to do my own nonprofit and all that, which I don't want to do. I'd much rather do it with you guys. I just think that the national student vote is a catchier name. It's better for marketing purposes, and it's kind of a rebranding, moving into the future where we're doing it all online, all digital, and very much more like a social media type of mock election than what the National Student Parent Mock Election has been doing for years, which is more of a traditional, even kindergartners dressing up like George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and walking up and putting votes in the ballot and all. This national student vote wouldn't be anything like that at all. This would be very much seniors on their iPhones and doing that type of stuff. Now that said, there's lots of the partnership opportunities with groups like Rock the Vote and Vote.org, and another organization that allows you to pre-register to vote, and I think up to 20 different states can allow 16 and 17-year-olds to pre-register, so that when they do turn 18, they're automatically registered, which I think would be a great partnership to have, and I think that they would jump at the chance of being a sponsor for the national student vote or the national student parent mock election. So anyway, believe it or not, I had 3 or 4 other scenarios that I had worked out, and that's why it just got way too long, and I just kept it to these basic 2, where one, it's really just the software and really just the ballots, and you guys are running everything else, and then this one is a little bit more where I'm doing a lot more online marketing and reaching out to partners and reaching out to sponsors, with this channel. But again, we can talk about that hopefully really soon, because again, I'd like to get my developers working on this right away and get that piece of it, all done and locked in, and then we can always decide about the marketing and the websites and how that stuff is going to work. So, and then not to keep going on about this, but again, I have lots and lots of ideas about going out and reaching out to partners. I'm actually going to talk with a company, the Democracy Fund, next week, and it was started by the founder of eBay, who's worth billions and billions of dollars, but it's a perfect fit for this mock election. It's perfect, and I'm hoping that I can convince him that this is great. Now I will do all of that as the National Student Parent Mock Election, but I do think that a nice discussion about bringing that up to a little bit more of a social media type of a feel and targeting more of the older kids, with ed tech and social media type of stuff. I mean, and a lot of this is going on the 2016 experience, where the schools that were trying to do a lot of things on paper or that weren't really tech savvy were just a time and resource drain like you wouldn't believe. And on the other hand, we did the National Association of Student Council, which was 1,100 kids at their annual convention. We had them all pull out their iPhones and Chromebooks and laptops and tablets. They all logged on, and within 5 minutes, everyone was forwarding profiles and talking and watching videos And then, 30 minutes later, the vote was over, and it was incredible experience. And I know that right now there's 20, 30 million students that have that type of access, in their classrooms. So anyway, sorry about going on so long. Look forward to talking with you guys. We should talk as soon as possible. Thanks. Bye.